it was fine for you, Sunday.
Oh, good. Oh, you got it? You want to sit next to Mom?
Okay, moving back a bit.
I'll grab a cushion.
Oh, no, I will.
Oh, you're supposed to sit up there.
Oh, is this Kleenex they're giving us?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to begin the funeral service. Mr. Stanley Arden. I'd like to ask the family kindly, if you have a cell phone, to place it in the silent mode at this time, and also welcome anybody via live stream attending the service on the family's behalf. Services will be conducted by Rabbi Jason Fensker of Congregation BJP.
We know that this is strange. This is hard to gather with just the few of us here and so many watching on the live stream at home. It's always hard to say goodbye to a loved one. And in this moment, without the largesse of your community gathered together, it adds an extra measure of hardship and sadness. But we're here. And we're here to do something important. Our tradition says that accompanying the dead to burial is the greatest gift that we can give, because it's a gift that can never be returned. So here we are, to give one last gift, one last measure of kindness to a person who built so much, and who strengthened and supported you, gave you so many gifts throughout your lives together. And so we're here to say goodbye and to do sacred work. First, I know that Sandra, Alan, Terry, Steve, you have a little ribbon on your coat or on your sweater. In just a moment, we're going to tear that ribbon. You have to help Mom or remove your gloves to tear it. It's an outward representation of that which is happening inside. You'll wear it for the week.
Are we supposed to wear that?
We will in just a moment. We'll tear it in just a moment. It's called kriya. It means tearing. Again, an outward representation of that which is happening in your hearts. That in this moment there is something torn, something that is ripped asunder, something broken. And a way to show that outwardly. And normally you'd wear it for the week, and the people you would see and interact with would see it and know that something was broken. You wear it on your Zooms. You wear it for yourself to know. And when we tear it, we say the words Baruch Dayan Ha'emet, which means blessed is the true judge. Not to say that there's some meaning or purpose in the loss of a loved one, but more to ground us in something bigger than ourselves, even in a moment of loss. And so I'll invite you, if you're able, you can remove your gloves. You can tear it from the bottom up or from the side, and repeat after me. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. And then you can tear. Yeah. There you go. And so we begin. Esainai leharim me'ain yavo ezri. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian, your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul. You're going out and you're coming in, now and forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember him. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, you will remember him. When you are weary or in need of strength, you will remember him. When you're lost or you're sick at heart, you will remember him. And when you have joys you yearn to share, you will remember him. So long as we live, he too shall live, for he is a part of us as we remember him. In moments of deep emotion in our tradition, we turn to the Psalms. We turn to biblical poetry that doesn't say to us that anyone knows exactly how you feel right now, but just to give voice to the depth of human emotion. And in particular, we turn to the 23rd Psalm. It's liturgy we're familiar with, and particularly in moments of loss. It talks about the valley of shadows. Sometimes we sit there. We dwell in the valley of deepest, darkest shadows. And as we walk that path, I find the last stanza particularly compelling. The psalmist reminds us that goodness and mercy are following us all the days of our lives. The Hebrew word rodef doesn't just mean follow, it means chase, pursuing us. That while we sit in darkness, goodness and mercy, life and legacy and memory and blessing chase us out of darkness towards light, towards life. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, Binot deshe yar bitzeni, Al mei menuchot yenahaleni, Nafshi yeshovev, Nafshi yeshovev, Yancheni b'maglei tzedek, b'maglei tzedek leman shemo, Gam ki elech begates al mavet, Lo irara ki ata imadi, Shivtecha umishantecha, Shivtecha umishantecha, Hema yenachamuni, Taroch lefanai shulchan, Taroch lefanai shulchan, Taroch lefanai shulchan, Neged sorerai, Dishanta bashemen roshim, Kosi revaya, Dishanta bashemen roshi, Kosi revaya, Ach tov v'chesed, Yirdefuni kol yemei chayai. Ach tov v'chesed, Yirdefuni kol yemei chayai. V'shavti b'veit Adonai, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God has given, and God has taken away. Blessed be God's name. Surely a gift was given in Stanley, and his loss, having him taken away, there are no words for what it means to lose a pillar of a family like that. And yet we say, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. We will offer words of blessing and praise to celebrate that which he gave and that which he built. As many of us who are here spoke earlier this week or last week, I found it particularly compelling that this week Jews around the world are reading the last chapters of the book of Genesis. In part, it tells the story of Jacob, the patriarch, the pillar of a family, of a large family, many children and grandchildren. Jacob, who cared for and provided for that large family, who maintained relationships with each member of that family. And we join Jacob in this moment at his deathbed. And Jacob offers words of blessing to each child. Each member of his family, each with their unique relationship, celebrating the unique gifts and blessings, being held up by what he was to them and what his dreams and hopes were for who they might become. Knowing them to their core, knowing the direction that they should take, offering just that little nudge, that soft touch. And the family inherits that blessing, inherits that legacy. And then they have a job. With Jacob gone from this earth, they are obligated to maintain that legacy, to continue to support and sustain that large family, even without that spoke, that pillar that held them all together. That was Stanley. He was the pillar, the center of a large family, who knew you and loved you, who brought you in and set a course and a direction for who you might become. Always committed to you and to each other and to family, to building and sustaining that legacy. And so we tell some of his story. The Hebrew word for memory, zecher, it means memory and it means to mention. To mention memory, that memory should live on our lips, not just in our hearts or in our minds. That when we speak memory into being, memory becomes a blessing. And so we tell stories again and again and again, the little stories and the big ones that changed your life. The ones you've told 1,000 times before, you tell them again and again and again. So that through the mention of his zecher, of his memory, he might become a blessing. And so I'll share some stories that we spoke about on Friday. And then in the days and weeks that follow, you will too. You'll hop on Zoom, you'll hop on the phone, on FaceTime or WhatsApp, and you'll share and you'll remember, and it will make you laugh and it will make you cry. But through the mentioning of memory, memory becomes a blessing. Even from the beginning. Sandra, your story with Stanley, your lives were intertwined. Grew up in the same neighborhood. Longdale Avenue, did I have that right? I don't actually know the city that well. I got it right? On the west side. And even at the beginning, you would doodle your name with his last name attached. From the moment you met each other, you loved each other. You just knew. And when Sandra moved to the south side, Stanley would borrow a car from whichever aunt or uncle had come over so he could go down to see you. And then, a few years later, married in March 1951, almost 70 years of marriage, an entire lifetime together. A lifetime of partnership and family, of books, projects, of adventures, and many, many celebrations. Throughout those years, Stanley was always a hard worker, always committed to his task. Whether it was Fruitland or the hot dog stand or the grocery store or eventually making his way back to the family business, he was always working. Always striving to do as much as he could to maintain his responsibility, to support you, to support his family. Working hard, and through that work, his character, his professional character, his personal character, defined by the integrity that he brought to each moment. Hard work ethic, commitment to his responsibility to work and to family, commitment to provide. He was the one who always took care of you, always made sure you had what you needed. Because through all of that, all the hours at work and back home tinkering and working, it was all about family. It always came back to family. My favorite moment when we were speaking is when you told me that you built a house together, or had a house built in Lincolnshire. It felt perfect because you needed a house big enough to host everybody, an open floor plan so you could set up, I just imagine, tables and tables and tables for dozens and dozens of people to come together for Mother's Day and Father's Day and Thanksgiving, every celebration except for Hanukkah, if I got that right. Everyone except for Hanukkah. Because you came from big families and you wanted to celebrate a big family together. So 48 aunts and uncles at your wedding? 48 aunts and uncles. A commitment to a big family, like Jacob, to inherit a blessing and to pass it on to the next generation. Sandra, you and Stanley relished being the center, relished being the spoke of the wheel, relished having a place that could be the meeting place for family, one that was your own, where he could garden, where he could tinker, always keeping himself busy, always providing, building, supporting you. A place where family and friends could and loved together. He was generous, friendly, a man of integrity and a man with a big heart. Just through it all, he built for all of you an unequivocal commitment to family. Whether it was how he was a big brother to Sandra's sisters, or how every person who married into the family was celebrated and loved and treated like one of your own. This legacy of relationship, of coming together, of commitment to taking care of each other, that will last well beyond the 4 generations that he and that you helped to grow and nurture. And he worked a lot, but you knew that he was always there for you. A rock, a steady pillar for you and for your family. And that strength, the strength and the stability that he represented for your family, even though he's no longer here, what he built, what you all built together. What you built will continue to be there to sustain you, to provide strength, support, to sustain, to provide, to care, to inherit blessing, and to pass it on to all those who come after you as well. Zichrono livracha. May his memory and his mention always be for a blessing. I invite you to rise for the memorial prayer. El male rachamim shochein b'mromim hamsei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina im kedoshim utorim kizohar harakia mazhirim et nishmat simcha zalek ben David shalach le'olamo ba'al harachamim yastirehu beseter knafav la'olamim veyitzror b'torah chaim et nishmato Adonai hu nachalato v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo v'nomar Amen. God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of thy presence, among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament, unto the soul of Stanley Arden, who is gone unto eternity. Lord of mercy, bring him under the cover of thy wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life, be God's possession, and may his repose be peace, to which we'll say, Amen. You can be seated. And so now we have just a few things left to do. We'll speak a few more words of memory and blessing, and then we'll take turns placing earth on the casket. There is a custom for some that when we place earth on the casket, we place 3 full measures, 3 to show our intention. We do this on purpose, that last gift that we give. And for some, we use the back of the shovel, the back of the spade. It's the wrong way. It's inefficient. It's hard. Even though we give this gift with love and full hearts, our hearts are heavy and broken. So some will show that difficulty by using the back of the shovel for one of the measures. Then you'll place the shovel back in the bucket. I think that Peggy has gloves for anyone who might need. You'll place it back so that everyone can have a moment to go through the full ritual together. But before we do that, I want to join together in words of Kaddish on the back of your book, in your packet here. They're words that almost inexplicably speak about life, even in this moment of loss. But when you say the words slowly and with intention, you feel them kind of roll. They have this patter, as if the words are there to soften and to soothe and embrace us in a difficult moment. And these are words that you can't say alone. These are words that require a minyan, a quorum, 10 people, reminding us that not only must memory live on our lips, it must live within the context of a community. That even in this strangest moment where we are separated and distant from each other, we find ways to come together, to comfort and strengthen each other in moments of loss. I invite you to rise, and we'll join in Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'it ramam v'it naseh v'it hadar v'it aleh v'it halal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Hamakom yenechem etchem b'toch sha'ar avei Tzion b'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem, the mourners of the world. And together we'll say, Amen. Peggy.
She got some. This does conclude the service at the graveside. On behalf of the family, I'd like to thank the friends are visiting live stream, which will now be turned off. This does conclude the service. Thank you.